It's been a while. So our friends in Focusrite, or at Focusrite rather, reached out to ask me if I'd like to try a new keyboard of theirs. So I thought it would be rude to say no. I genuinely have no idea what is in this box. I've even checked the Focusrite site and I don't see any evidence of any kind of either hugely enormous audio interfaces or indeed keyboards. So I'm very intrigued to get inside this box. Nice. My first Novation keyboard since the Supernova. Was that Novation? I think it was. First impressions, well, you get it out of the box, incredibly heavy, very sturdy. It looks like it's all metal. I mean, like DX7 almost heavy. It joins the majority of synthesizers in being a bit of an ugly bastard. And there aren't, I mean, many attractive synths. I would say this probably is one, an exception to the rule. Is it the Juno 106 that had that kind of greyish with those kind of blues and yellows? Quite like that. I think most of my vintage synths, yeah, I can't actually look at any of those and think that I think they're beautiful. So she doesn't stand alone where this is concerned. Although I have to say that the wheels are kind of cool. So how does she sound? Well, the reason why I'm particularly interested in this synth is because I really want a digital synth. Whilst I may have a real passion for vintage analog wear, I think there is place for digital and for the ability to jump on stuff in the digital domain. This is possibly the best of all worlds. So it starts digital here and then it moves with the filter into analog through the chorus distortion and delay. It's all analog until it gets sent into a digital reverb at the end. So best of all worlds. I think it's only fair that we should just get like the first sound up. A000 is a bass synth. What I love about it is the biggest knob on the keyboard. Actually, I've only just noticed that, it's very funny, is the knob. Sounds super fat to me. Second sound, I'm actually going to kind of be a bit more detailed in a moment, but you know, you've got to have a little play, don't you? Yes, we are definitely in the land of digital. Get your knitting needle out. My, you are a long reverb. We're going to have fun with that. The back of the keyboard, we have your standard USB, MIDI in, out, through. We've got a CV mod in, which I'm very interested in. 2 pedals, which are assignable. We've got 2 inputs, so basically you can send inputs through these wonderful effects, which I guess can all be synchronized via CV, all of that kind of stuff. Then you've got 2 separate outputs, which I believe are assignable, and headphones out. It's a standard power kettle lead with an on and off button just there. So basically, from the very brief reading that I've been doing, is you've got 16 voices, each of which have 3 oscillators. So I believe that's a total of 48 oscillators in there working away. Now you can use it in 2 modes. Basically, I believe it's kind of like the Novation Peak, which I have no knowledge about whatsoever. It's like 2 of those jammed together with improvements. There's 2 ways of working with it. You can work with it as a kind of a monster machine in single mode, where you're basically using all 16 voices, all 48 oscillators, or you can use it in a multi-mode. You see if I click over here, which basically splits certainly this bit here, this oscillator bit, into 2 synthesizers. So you then have 6 independent oscillator controllers. I'll show you what I mean. It basically splits into synthesizer A, synthesizer B, and if you switch between them, you'll see the different oscillator settings switch there. You can use it in layer mode, split mode, or dual mode. So layer is on top of each other, split is split keyboard, dual it's bitimbral. It responds to 2 different MIDI channels. So basically you can see the active voices. This is in multi-patch here. And say if I were to take all of these oscillators down here. These are now affecting synthesizer B. So we have single, multi, we have a patch advancer there for ease of use, an initialize and a compare. So I guess when you edit stuff, you can compare with the original and the new. Animates are basically, you can dive into the screen and use these to create moments similar to like a modulation. So let's, for example, on this one, I think this is like it filters it down. So it's a nice little kind of live performance thing. But also if you hit hold, it holds it at whatever that part of the animation you've done. You can switch the octaves here. I would say one thing about this is you can't really, certainly not with lights on it, really see where the center point is. These gradually change, but it's not that obvious when you get to the center point, which I find a bit disorientating. Stuff like modulation, again, you can go into the screen and determine what that does. But the great thing is they've ripped a lot of stuff that's really usually you get in menus is all out to play with live. So basically each department of the synthesizer has its physical knobs, but also you can go into a bit more of a deep dive within the screens here. Say for example, the oscillator, all of their kind of preferences are about 8 different pages. And what I found it useful for is certain behaviors of the effects. You can really go in and tweak them, say for example there. We also have settings here, which again, a whole bunch of pages here. So let's have a look at how you kind of navigate around. You've got these patches up here. There's a distinct possibility I may do that a few times today. Just having kind of infinite reverb on a synth is just like my dream come true. So basically you've got this little arrow comes down to the thing that you're editing. So you have 4 banks and you've also got rather cleverly all of these categories. And so let's just have a go at changing this one. So I've edited that setting. Let's save. So you can move along and change the title here. And then as you go along, you can determine where you want to save it to. And you can also assign it a category or just escape by coming back into single mode. You also have a voice mode here, which is either for the entire synth in single or for synth A and B or parts A and B in multi. So you've got your mono, mono legato, mono 2. Don't really know what that means. Let's have a go. Okay, it's interesting. So mono, the oscillator is just basically changing the pitch, whereas mono 2, it seems to be re-triggering. Got your glide and your glide time here. Let's put the arpeggiator on. Let's get all of these down to the bottom. Great, lovely feeling kind of knobs and stuff. So this first one, let's just bypass the effect. Ascending. So this first one is just operating within the same octave. Goes all the way up to 7 octaves. Let's keep it 1 for now. So you've got up, down and up times 2. Oh, I love it. Waltz style. In the order of play, random, And every rotation is random, and of course chord. Control your gates here. And then you've got different rhythm types here. So we've got the delays here, and I think you can synchronize the delays to the tempo of the arpeggiator. We'll be back to the effects in a minute. So that's the arpeggiator. Then you basically have your three oscillators all acting independent of each other. So let's just have a listen to that first oscillator. You've got the mixer here for each oscillator. Got our ranges, pitch, wave. And we've got mod envelopes here, so you've got mod envelope 2 will affect how the pitch is effective. Or indeed how the LFO2 affects the pitch. Great stuff. And what I love about it is you can really feel it centers back there, and then the LFO doesn't have any effect. So you also have control of the shape of the waveform. So again, stimulate with LFO1, this first frequency oscillator here. Interesting effects there, obviously still getting my head around it. So you have this duplicated across all three oscillators, but then what you can also do is have each oscillator frequency modulate the next. We've got the oscillator coming out here so we can hear it. We're not listening to oscillator 2, we can use oscillator 2 to modulate oscillator 3. And this chains in a circle, so you can use oscillator 1 to modulate oscillator 2, oscillator 2 to modulate oscillator 3, and back again from 3 to 1. We have, as I mentioned here, the mixer with the three different oscillators. We've got this ring setting between oscillators 1 and 2, and there is a noise generator as well. We've got this fantastic filter bank here. This is when it goes into the analog domain, and I believe this is the same filter as designed by the guy who designed the filter for the Wasp synth. Me. We can use LFO1 to modulate the filter, key tracking so the filter will behave differently across the keyboard, and all sorts of settings here. So let's just have a quick listen to these. We've got our amp envelope and our mod envelopes, two of which you can select here, and then over to our LFOs, which we briefly talked about, and these global LFOs 3 and 4 also determine the way the effects are going to behave. So we've got distortion, and chorus. Got our delay. And obviously this amazing reverb here. 3 different sizes. So a real control-y bundle of treats. That hands-on, we have opposing thumbs, we can do all sorts of crazy things. I'm just going to go into, I don't know why, but the bank that I played with at first was C, and it just had lots of stuff that I really enjoyed. And I'm a total preset monkey, or certainly as a starting point. So just go through a few of these sounds to give you a sense of, not only is it, I think, an amazing piece of kit, but I think some of these presets have been really well designed as well. In case any of you are wondering for the unexplained disappearance of Sandy. Sandy, I'm delighted to announce, is getting married, and he's in the middle of that kind of maelstrom of marriage preparations, etc, etc. I'm sure you don't mind me speaking for all of us in wishing you, Sandy, all the best in your preparations. I know how difficult these events can be. Back to the shed to get back to this lovely keyboard. Do I think this is the best modern synth, the best, newest synth out there? I spend a lot of time in NAMM. I play on a lot of these things. I trawl the internet. This, for me, fits into my sonic aesthetic, and it's something I'm just delighted to have been introduced to. So thanks very much to Focusrite for doing that. I have tried to do a review without bias because I've been lent this marvellous machine, but I'm both grateful and congratulate you in equal measure for something that I think is absolutely gorgeous. And I can hear this as much going into modular jams as I can onto film scores, which for me is, you know, it's lovely to spend lots of money, but to spend it on stuff that you know you're going to get a lot of use out of and is going to give you a lot of pleasure and inspiration is a great thing to be introduced to. I'm going to rack up my second rack here, get my Prophet Rev 2 and see if I can't get a patch going. I can't wait. Anyway, do any of you use this new Novation keyboard? Is there any features I should check out? Please put in the comments down below, alongside any modern, recently kind of released kit that you think would be of interest. I wish I hadn't said that, it's gonna end up costing me money. Anyway, thanks as always for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done already, as there's loads of stuff coming up and I wouldn't want you to miss out. Indeed, ding that bell if you want to be notified the next time I put a video up. One of those thumbs up for Sandy and his bride-to-be. See you next time. What sort of stuff you put on that, Christian? Sorry, I'll just go again. One sec.